have faith in God. It's hard to allow yourself to be supported by God if you don't believe in God, if you don't actively think about it. But having faith that there is a God, God has our backs, God has a plan, and our job is to be of best service to that plan as possible. So having faith, and then listen. It's one thing to have faith, then it's another thing to listen to God. Because I don't know about you, I've got noise in my mind all the time. I've got my own thoughts, I've got my own ego. Then of course there's all the outside noise coming in. So to be guided by God, I think we need to become very good listeners. What is God's path for me? What's God's encouragement for me? What step am I being guided to take right now in this difficult situation? We've got to learn to listen. And I think listening to God, it's a little bit less to do with our eardrums and much more to do with hearing God from our heart. And at least for me, how the conversation tends to show up is subtle feelings in my heart. When I'm thinking about doing something, oftentimes for me, it's as simple as a sensation of lightness in my heart when it's in my greater good. Or it might be a choice where like, dude, that makes logical sense for me to do, but my heart will have a sense of heaviness to it. It's very subtle and it's very easy for it to be there, but for me not to notice. That's why I find it essential to calm my mind and listen to the sensations of my heart, because I do believe that's how God communicates with us. I think if we're trying to listen to God in the English language and literal words, we're probably going to be waiting a while. Now, if that's how God talks to you, great. Doesn't seem to be how God talks to me or most people. So we got to listen to our heart, because what we're really listening to is who's on the other side of our heart, which I believe is God. And thirdly, about what you and I can do is pray. Pray often. Know when people are in need. Maybe you don't even know them, but pray for them. Pray for yourself. Pray for your family, your circumstances. Pray for other people. Pray for the world at large. And by the way, this might sound weird, but when we look at the evil authoritarians, people I judge to be evil at least, the Klaus Schwabs, the George Soroses, Bill Gates, Biden, Trudeau, it's not that I'm keeping track of who they are, but that's who I think they are. What would happen if we start praying for them? Certainly not praying for their agenda to succeed, but praying for them as the individuals. Because I look at them and what I see is godless people who are driven by their own ego. And I think evil is controlling their ego. So these are maybe people we need to pray for more than anybody else, to have them saved. And by the way, the more they're saved, the more they get God into their lives, which I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But hypothetically, if they got more God into their lives, we save them, kind of saves us too, doesn't it? And fourthly, about what I think you and I can do is doing our best to live a life of service. A service to God's plan, a service to God's guidance for us. And then we also have to realize to do so, to live a life of service, we have to look at our own egotistical wants, our egotistical desires. They even might be authentic desires, but sometimes we have to be willing to abandon those in order to be of service to God. Now, here's a fact. A lot of people would say, dude, you mean not just dedicating my life to, me and serving myself, which is kind of narcissism, but how would I ever be happy if I don't do that? Well, I would say, how would you ever be happy if that's all you do? I believe true happiness, fulfillment, and meaning of life absolutely requires us to be of service to a greater good, to contribute to the greater good of other people.